Welcome back, everyone. We're so glad to have you here again, and we hope you're surrounded by love, peace, and happiness wherever you are. Today, we're diving right back into the emotional journey of Tiu Ka and Hung, a story that's captured all of our hearts. If you've been following along, you already know how much these two have been through. Love, pain, healing, and the quiet strength it takes to keep going when life gets heavy. In this next chapter, we're going to witness how their relationship continues to grow through simple, everyday moments, through shared struggles, and the kind of care that doesn't need grand gestures to feel real. From the way Hung quietly supports Tiu Ka to the way she slowly lets her guard down, there's something deeply moving about watching love unfold in the most human, gentle way. So grab your favorite drink, settle into a cozy spot, and let's experience what happens next together. Will their bond deepen? What new challenges will they face? One thing's for sure. Every episode is another step in a journey that reminds us how love, when it's patient and kind, can heal even the deepest wounds. Let's jump in and see what unfolds for Tiu Ka and Hung. At just 7 months pregnant, she had to deliver her baby prematurely. It was a moment filled with fear, uncertainty, and pain, one that no expecting mother ever wants to face. Both she and the baby had to remain in the hospital. Tiu Ka to recover from the early labor, and her tiny newborn, who had to stay under intensive care for nearly 2 months to build strength and fight for every breath. During this difficult time, everything else came to a halt. The house she and Hung were building together remained unfinished. Daily life, the laundry, meals, paperwork, was left hanging in limbo. All that mattered now was survival, recovery, and hope. As the days passed, Tiu Ka slowly began to heal. Though she was still weak, she started to regain enough strength to take care of herself without constant support. Seeing this progress, Hung made a hard decision. For the first time in weeks, he would leave her side, just briefly, to return home and handle the growing list of responsibilities waiting for them. It wasn't easy. Hung had been her rock through everything, caring for her every need, staying by her side day and night, never once thinking of himself. But now, he knew he needed to step back into the real world, even just for a short while, to keep their lives moving forward. He would return home to organize the house, make decisions about construction, clean up the unfinished tasks they had both put on pause. It was all for her, for them, for the life they were still building, one piece at a time, even through chaos and heartbreak. A reminder of just how much love can endure. It's not always about grand romantic gestures, but about the silent sacrifices, the small decisions, the willingness to carry the weight when the other can't. Hung didn't just love Tiu Ka in words, he showed it in action. As soon as Hung returned to his hometown, he didn't waste a moment. With determination in his heart, he set out to find workers and designers who could help finish Tiu Ka's house as quickly as possible. He knew deep down that once she and the baby were discharged from the hospital, there would be no place more comforting or healing than their very own home. A space she had dreamed about and one she deserved to return to. The house still needed a lot of work, but Hung was ready to do whatever it took to complete it. Early the next morning, he and the architect made their way up to the site, walking along a narrow path that led through quiet countryside. The land wasn't on a bustling street or in a trendy neighborhood. It was tucked away, private, peaceful. As they walked, the designer turned to Hung with a curious question. Why didn't you just buy a plot of land along the main road? It would have been more convenient, more modern, maybe even better for the baby. Hung paused, then smiled softly, one of those quiet smiles that holds 1,000 memories. I actually thought about that, he said gently. At first I was going to. I even found a few good locations, but she didn't want that. Tiu Ka preferred something simpler, something more natural. She dreamed of a small, cozy home surrounded by trees and flowers, where she could breathe fresh air and feel at peace, a place that reminded her of her roots. He looked out at the house, still unfinished, but already full of character. Then continued. She grew up in a home like this, a traditional house, tucked away from the noise. She said it helped her feel connected to her family, to her culture, to who she is. So I listened. I respected that, and I built this place exactly how she wanted it, not because it was the most practical choice, but because it was hers. There was a quiet pride in his voice, not boastful, just deeply sincere. Every decision Hung made about this home wasn't about showing off or doing what others thought was best. It was about honoring the woman he loved, understanding her truly, and letting her vision come to life, down to every little detail. In that moment, you could tell. This wasn't just a house. It was a promise, a sanctuary, a gift from someone who didn't just say, "I love you," but proved it through action. This scene is more than just construction. It's a love story told in wood, stone, and tradition. Hung didn't just build walls and a roof. He built safety, comfort, and respect. And soon, when Tiu Ka and their newborn come home, it won't just be to a finished house, it'll be to a place where they can truly belong. When Hung arrived at the construction site, he didn't waste any time. He immediately sat down with the designer and laid out his vision for how he wanted to complete Tiu Ka's home. He spoke with clarity and care, down to the smallest detail. I want the interior walls to be lined entirely with high-quality wood, he said. Not just any kind of wood, something solid, something real, and the ceiling too. I want it sealed and insulated so later she can install an air conditioner if she wants. It has to be a space where she feels safe, warm, and comfortable. As he spoke, you could tell this wasn't just about finishes or aesthetics. This was about creating a sanctuary, one that felt comforting, secure, and filled with quiet luxury. The kind of space where Tiu Ka could rest, heal, and raise her newborn with peace of mind. The designer nodded, listening carefully. Then they both rolled up their sleeves and got to work, measuring every corner of the house to assess exactly what would be needed. After taking all the necessary dimensions, the designer gave Hung an estimated price. It'll run somewhere between 8 to 10 million, he said. That covers the wood paneling, labor, and fast turnaround. Hung didn't flinch. That's fine, he replied calmly. Whatever it takes. Just make sure you use the best wood you can find, and please try to finish it as quickly as possible. There was no hesitation in his voice. It wasn't about cutting costs or negotiating a better deal. For Hung, the only thing that mattered was getting the job done right and fast, so that the woman he loved could come home to the comfort she deserved. The designer smiled, reassured by Hung's trust and commitment. Absolutely, he said. You can count on me. I'll rally the team and we'll get it done in 3 to 4 days max. They shook hands, sealing the deal not just as contractor and client, but as two men who understood the meaning behind the project. This was more than wood and nails. It was a quiet act of devotion. After wrapping up the details, the two chatted a bit longer about the work ahead and then left the site together, ready to bring this vision to life. As soon as Hung got home, he didn't stop to rest, not even for a moment. Exhausted but determined, he immediately jumped back into his car and drove straight to the hospital, where Teo Ka's newborn was still being treated in the NICU. This wasn't just a routine check-in. Hung needed to see for himself how the little one was doing. This fragile life that had arrived too early, but was already so deeply loved. The nurses gave him updates, and he quietly stood by the incubator, eyes filled with concern, but also unwavering hope. Just a few more weeks, they told him. Just a little more strength, and the baby might finally be strong enough to go home. After spending some time there, Hung didn't slow down. He made his way to the upper floor of the hospital, where Teo Ka was still recovering. She'd been through so much, physically, emotionally, and even though she was doing better, she still needed care, comfort, and the steady presence of the one person who had never left her side. He walked into her room, soft smile on his face, trying not to show how tired he truly was. All that mattered to him in that moment was being there, holding her hand, asking how she was feeling, making sure she had everything she needed. This is who Hung is. He's not loud about his love. He doesn't make grand speeches or dramatic declarations. He simply shows up again and again without fail. Whether it's checking on the baby, finalizing construction, or making sure Teo Ka gets her favorite food at the hospital, his love lives in the quiet actions that speak louder than words ever could. And now, as this chapter continues to unfold, we can't help but ask ourselves, what's next for this little family? Will things finally settle down? Will healing come soon? We can only hope and pray that both mother and child continue to grow stronger with each passing day. That the home Hung is building will soon echo with the soft sounds of laughter, love, and a brand new beginning. Stay with us, because the next part of this journey is just around the corner.
Xin chào các bạn, chào mừng đã quay trở lại. Hôm nay thời tiết có phần oi bức hơn thường lệ. Mùa hè ở đất nước tôi đang vào thời cao điểm, với những đợt nắng gắt như muốn thiêu đốt mọi thứ. Cái nóng khiến ai cũng cảm thấy mệt mỏi, và Tiểu Ca cũng không ngoại lệ. Nhưng với cô, sự mệt mỏi ấy dường như tăng lên gấp bội, bởi cô đang ở những tháng cuối của thai kỳ. Liệu hôm nay có điều gì bất ngờ xảy ra? Hãy cùng tôi theo dõi. Sau một cơn mưa rào bất chợt, thứ đặc sản vào mùa hè, trời bắt đầu hừng nắng, mang theo cái nóng hầm hập khắp không gian. Hôm nay Tiểu Ca gửi bé Han ở nhà bà ngoại để một mình lên núi hái sau bí đem về bán. Đã lớn, cơ thể nặng nề, nhưng cô vẫn kiên cường trèo lên lưng chừng quả đồi, chọn những ngọn rau bí tươi ngon nhất. Những vết vệt mồ hôi lấm tấm trên trán không làm cô chùn bước. Với cô, mỗi bó rau là thêm một phần chi phí sinh hoạt, lo lắng cho cô và con gái. Sau gần cả buổi sáng, Tiểu Ca cũng hái được một gùi đầy, cùng thêm một ôm rau nữa. Đi xuống đến chân đồi, cô ngồi nghỉ ngơi dưới tán cây mát rượi, tranh thủ buộc sau thành từng bó gọn gàng, chuẩn bị đi giao cho các quầy rau quen thuộc dưới chợ.